recording. Let's start off with the Bailly crew here. This was in second quarter. We're already at play 50 in the second quarter. I think at this point it's still 0-0. Pretty big moment in the game. So for you tuning in at home and you looking at your screen from the video that I shared today, towards the bottom of that list, it's play number 50. Everybody get a chance to find it?
Mm-hmm.
All righty. So looking at this play here, I'll go out. I'm at the bottom. As far as a key tackle and the first running back to my side. Back judge is here. Deep is over here. L is here. Rudy looking through, going over towards the left tackle. As this play starts to grow and starts to develop, it starts to create a pile. Let me go back to the tighter view now. I don't know if you guys got a chance to see it. And I made an error, number one. I don't know if you've seen it. I don't know if you can really see on film, but if you want to zoom in and you want to roll down to the point right here at 6:43 on your computer, he actually now starts to lose the ball. White has got his arms on the football. Now, what I didn't do is I didn't throw a beanbag. But what I really want to talk about here is forward progress, right? Does he have forward progress? Is he still fighting? Hey, Jordan, I'm going to put you on mute, bud. And then they're fighting for the ball. And I've got White still fighting. White's got it. And I come up with White, going the other way. So as we go back and forth and we start to look at this, love some input, love some feedback. Was his progress stopped? I don't know. I think he was still trying to fight, gets hold up. By that point, the ball is taken out. You can say that he was pushed backwards. I don't know. So I'm just going to put it out there. What's everybody's thoughts?
You want to play it again?
Yeah, I was fixing to say,
Yeah.
could you run it live speed and pause it where you think the fumble occurred?
Right here. There's a hand, and there's the defender's arms getting into the football.
So if we're going to rule forward progress, where did the forward progress stop?
Looks to me like he's like at the 21.
Yeah, man. Yeah, 21. But I had seen the ball separate from the body from this film. No, but from my angle, from where I was looking down the line, I saw the ball separate from the running back But what I didn't do is have a beanbag.
So
Does the ball ever
the
hit
ball
the
separate from his body, but did you ever see, I mean, as far as his hands or his arms, did he lose
Sorry,
it?
what was that, Kyle?
You said you saw the ball separate from his body, but as far as his hands or his arms, did you ever see the ball without his hands and or arms on it?
No, his hand was still, I think his hand was still touching the ball, but I don't think he had possession at that time.
Did you ask the umpire for any assistance, any help? What did he see?
No, I did not.
And the reason I asked what I did is because, you know, it can get pulled away from his body and him still have, you know, hand control with one arm, you know, as the defender's coming down, you know, trying to pry it away. And as long as he brings it back in, you know,
He
I'm
still
giving
has
it to
possession.
yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
Anyways,
let's
Go
talk
ahead.
about
Who's in?
philosophy. What's the philosophy in regard to fumble? When in doubt, it's a fumble, right? That's our philosophy. And I think this one falls in that category of, you know, you saw what you saw and you ruled on it. The self-critique you brought to the table of I should have had a beanbag, but I think it opened up to you and you saw everything that you ruled on. That's all I got to say about that.
all right. Well, that's just one of the first ones that jumped out, because this is from 2 weeks ago. We just got this the other day. So this was Chris and Brett on this particular play here. Chicken fighting. Receiver jockeying for position just as much as the DB. Ended up being a no call on this. This is play 66. Next play under that 50. Chris, I just saw you jump on the phone. You made that decision if you did, and how you saw it and how you communicated, and then why you passed on it.
Sure. Good evening, everybody. On this particular play, right from the get-go, receiver and DB started the little push and shove. There was no restriction initially whatsoever, even though the video makes it look bad. In the end zone, right before the ball got there, you see the receiver's hand come up. What you don't see, and what Brett and I talked about, was the receiver's inside arm was pushing the defender away, trying to keep separation from the defender. And he only went up with one arm because he was using the other one to block the defender out. Once I saw that, Brett and I came in and discussed it, pretty much seeing the same thing, passed on the potential DPI. There was really no restriction. They were both chicken fighting. So I guess the old saying, mutual combat, let them go. So they were both fighting for position, trying to get to the ball. So just passed on it. And thankfully, Brett had a good eye on it as well. So came in, confirmed what each other saw, and we let it go.
Okay. Could you have done anything different on this play? The ball was taking it into the corner. Could you have get off the goal line and work towards take a few steps back, or you were in a good enough position you didn't need to do that?
I think we basically, as you know, Eric, we kick all those little stupid line indicators back to the media line. So I was basically on top of the media line, that far back. I think maybe I could have faster. It maybe moved a little bit further down the line toward the end line. But since Brett was back there as well, I knew he had the end line, I had the sideline, and so I think I was in good position. Could I have done something different? Of course. I think any play we can all say we would or could, but I think I was in good position. But I'd be interested to hear other people's comments as well. If they would have, turned quicker, moved further, anything like that. Be open to hear anything.
To me, it looks like he has good position. He's got a nice wide view. He's got the look-through view. I appreciate the explanation, because that was my question. What's happening with that left arm, that it stayed down? But it was a good explanation. I think passing was a great call.
Thank you, Jack. No, I mean, Chris, I think because of where the play develops right in the middle of the end zone, I don't think you really need to get off that goal line. I think if you did, you started to get too close. You start to lose perspective. So I think you were fine staying there.
Cool. Thank you. And not sure who that was, the D4 who was talking, but thank you.
Chris, why did you give me this play? 82.
I think this was just a attaboy for Alex on a no call. He kept the flag, even though there was some bumping with the receiver.
The stuff on the receiver?
Yeah, it's going to be in the upper left, kind of up near the yard marker.
Was there a second action in any of that? Didn't really see any second action. Did anybody else see any second action? When you're looking at this, it's deep wings. Who else is deep wing? We got Kyle. We got Paul. Pedraza, you are too, right?
The baby's on.
Okay. Okay.
No.
Jesse, I'm going to put you on mute too. So from a holding, keep it in your flag.
Hey, Eric, I saw the note that Chris sent. It was about Alex backing up during the play instead of staying on the pylon.
That too. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Sorry about that, Eric.
No, that's all right. I didn't see. Yeah. So I guess as a deep wing, guys, we just got to stay still. That's your line, right? The only way we really need to be going is out towards those yard markers. We don't necessarily need to be backing up, especially when we got a running play that's coming at us. Passing play, different story. But from a running play, the only thing we need to do is back up if we need to. I guess he was just feeling the pressure. Okay, so let's go back and this one here is from my man Murph. Or play one at the very top. Murph said he wanted any business with that. He started running backwards. Standing here. Lead up to that is he had already gotten hit earlier a couple weeks ago, so he was aware of being on the sideline. He needed to move. So Good awareness, Murph. Way to get out of the way. Way to protect yourself. That's what you're
Thank
trained
you.
to do. So good job there, man. I'm glad that you got out of harm's way.
And
Almost took out that other
I
receiver.
didn't.
Did you take out that? Did you have that other receiver on your mind when you were doing that? You were going to run right at that other guy over here throwing the football.
Yeah. The TV stand was in my way. I couldn't go that
You
direction.
couldn't go, huh? You were going to go get the other guy. Got it. Hey, we're going to go to play 7. Maxwell, you chop this one up.
Hey, Eric, before you go
You
there,
said- yeah. Who's this?
we're going into playoffs. Some
Hey, Joe. Yeah.
some of the crews have the opportunity to take alternates. Quick overview on what they can't do. Uniform of the day. Any input like that, so we're on the same page.
So, yeah, alternates. Alternates are for quarterfinals. Chapter alternates? No, it's anytime now we're in the playoffs. What? You shaking
Hey,
your thumb?
Eric, this is
Anytime?
Robert. Let me clarify because we voted on that today. The chapter will pay and officially assign an alternate for quarterfinals and above. Crews, that doesn't mean that crews can't take an alternate with them for other games. It's just that the alternates will be not assigned and they're not going to get paid from the chapter. We recommend that the crew put together some money to pay an alternate who's also charting a foul. And as far as uniform, they should be in at least the pants, almost like an auxiliary. I mean, if you want to wear your shirt underneath a jacket or something, that's fine, but at least in your officiating pants and just like an auxiliary would. And if you want to take it from there for mechanics.
Yeah, so when we're working alternate, dress as the crew dresses. Travel with the crew as best you can. I know that we've got up to 5 cars depending on our mileage. So travel with them. Try to be a part of it. If you are an alternate and you do get a chance to sit in their pregame, it's up to the referee, what the referee decides to do, if he wants you to be involved in the pregame, ask questions, or if he wants you to wait until the end. Especially if you're an unofficial alternate. If you're a assigned chapter alternate, then I think that changes the story. But as an alternate on the Bailly crew, each of us pitch in $10. So you're going to get $70 as an alternate from the Bailly crew to chart fouls. And you are in the pants, you're in the shoes, you have the hat. You can wear the uniform underneath if you like, but you certainly need you need a black jacket of sorts. It's got a little logo, that's okay. But you gotta be in black. And typically our alternate, and other white hats may do this differently, but our alternate will line up 3 yards beyond the line of scrimmage, and he's watching for that IDP. And our alternate will tell us, if we haven't seen it, that we got an IDP at 4 yards. Well, that's what we're doing with our alternate.
And let me
And
add-
then if he does it, go ahead.
Eric, I'm just going to add on, you can circle back to that, but on kickoffs, the alternate should be probably about the 30. A lot of these teams with these squib kicks are doing, they get right in between the deep and the wing guy who's back on the goal line, and sometimes it's hard to get that spot. So if the alternate gets about the 25 or 30, they can help with spots on those squib kicks that are going to be a little tough for both officials to get on that sideline.
That's good. Thank you. Yeah, that's nice to put it there, because we got to play here a little bit where we got a deep wing getting sucked down into a pooch kick when he's thinking about spot, I'm assuming, instead of getting the goal line. So we'll talk about that here in a little bit. So thank you. I don't know, Joe. I mean, we're just if we got an IDP, our alternate is telling their head or the official on his side, his short wing on his side, to drop the flag. So that's how we're operating with our alternate. If we do players out of bounds on the alternate side, the alternate is going to help pick up and clean up if we've got to continue moving downfield. What else are you thinking, Joe?
I didn't have much more to add. IDP, cleanup, uniform, kickoffs.
Foul codes.
I mean, they're tracking, so
You got a
they
list.
can know it. Know it or have a cheat sheet for them.
Yeah, that helps when you got a cheat sheet. Robert Bailly, man, it's really nice to see you.
Thanks.
You okay? You been well?
Yeah, been good. Hanging in there.
Okay, good. So, Maxwell, going back, you marked this up as a ILF potentially. Why?
Yep.
What were your thoughts?
We had a chat with the tackle here on the top of the screen.
Mm-hmm.
This was a talk to early. This is 7th snap of the game, including or 7th play of the game, including kickoff. So don't have to necessarily bang him. Go see if you can fix it with some verbiage.
This gentleman right here,
Yeah.
number 63. Yeah, for sure. Crew philosophy: to get him early, move him up. Work your way to the umpire. You go out and handle it if you got this short of a distance, and then obviously work through the coach to get them up. I've got this play multiple times over the weekend. I think Howard got busy.
Is this the wide view?
Yeah.
No. It happened on the other sideline as well.
Okay.
Although.
This is play 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're outside the 7. We're on the 14. And, you know, I don't know if Jason's on the call, but what I work towards is as we're moving down the field, we're calling out who's spot. You know, when I get inside the 14, me personally, I'm hollering at my deep wing saying, I'm coming to the 2. And then we got a situation like this one that arose. I am coming down and I'm doing my best to say your spot, kill it, because we're already beyond the first down marker.
Well, that's a good point. It's valid.
So,
Well, those guys are talking the entire while. I mean, I'm not gonna say it wasn't there. They weren't talking. They were letting each other know who had what. I think it was more or less our guys got in a hurry.
Yeah.
It went beyond what they should have done. So just something we can continue to talk about each week as we get ready for our pregame.
That's what I figured that happened. Go ahead.
Well, where you have this angle up, you notice how that sideline that they're working, Howard, and where it's marked up there, it's kind of indented. So you lose that 12-yard mark and see where the chains are at. The chains are at, right there at the white, and everybody follows the chains. It just looks like they're right on top of them. Where if you look at the other sideline, the crowd and the camera guys and everybody else is along the dotted line. So I don't know if we can find a guideline or something over there just for a recommendation. Maybe instead of the back of the white, that where the chains are, the back of that green, does it give them a yard? I don't know.
Eric, if you don't mind, I'm going to chime in on that one. What we should possibly consider as a chapter inside the red zone, move those sticks back to the limit line. And in this scenario, it would be the line between lane 1 and lane 2. And in the pregame, let those coaches know you can come down to the 10, but you have to be behind the sticks. I don't know if that's something that the chapter would adopt as a rule of thumb. This is what we'd like to do, but it's about safety down there, right? It's about our safety. And if we could move those sticks back and keep all those players behind it, since we're in the COVID zone, to give ourselves room to work.
That's all makes sense. This stadium, though, I hate from an officiating standpoint. That is not the track that's happening there. That is the long jump, triple jump pit. And those big white stripes you see are extremely slick. And also behind the official working the pylon there, he's got about 2 feet, and he is into the long jump landing pit. So while that all makes sense, nobody wants to work any steps further deeper because of the dangers and pitfalls that happen at that stadium. They're not on the home side, by the way, but the point about pushing the chains back to the other side of the long jump track certainly is doable. It's just not something anybody wants to work any deeper there because there's a good chance you're going down.
Okay, I got another question, and that's, you just gave me an education. I've only worked at that stadium one time. Who are all these other people that are standing in that pit, in that long jump, broad white stripes? I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people down there. Are they coaching staff? Are they players? I mean, there's folks inside the 10, and I don't think they came with us.
Nope, most of those are photographers.
And
whether they're mom and dad photographers or school photographers or what, but most of those have a camera.
And those guys need to be, like, I think what Ken's getting at is those guys need to be a lot further back than what we're allowing them to be right there.
Way back.
Yeah. So, when I've had the opportunity to work out here, I'm generally pushing those chains back, and the chain people are looking at me like I'm got googly eyes. Why are we moving backwards? Because I've asked you to very nicely. I've talked about this coming over, that we're going to move it inside when we get inside the red zone. So, having those guys back, pushing the media back, that's going to be helpful.
Yeah, with the yard markers too. If you pull those yard markers back before every game, that's a good way to tell those photographers and stuff. You need to be behind those yard markers.
More of the story of this particular play is slow down.
Yeah.
Don't be in such a rush.
Agree.
Yeah, the spot's not going anywhere. It's going to be where the spot is.
So I don't know if you got a chance to see this one. This is play number 19 if you're playing from home. And we're concentrating on this particular up back, H-back here. We talk about keys for a second. We're talking this is deep. Out here is deep. Back judge has got 2 on the top of the screen. H is going to have tackle this H-back looking at it. I don't know what was the thought process with this one, Maxwell. I don't know who had I don't know. This is Reinert, right? So
Yeah.
Don't know what Reinert said. I don't know how you discussed it or what his thought process was.
We discussed it at halftime as a miss, and I think Austin's definitely on. He was like, I got it. He waited a beat or two, and when he didn't see a flag, he threw it. You can see him go to his flag before he actually throws it. But that need to come from the short wing. And now we also talked a little bit about me on that, but that guy's hiding basically behind two players. It's a tough get.
Yeah, you're looking through those two guys.
Right.
You're looking through those guys getting to that left tackle.
Unless you go way out wide as a referee before you see that.
Yeah, I did exactly as David said. I saw the action. I hesitated 1,000. Nobody threw on it. Got a defense reaction going on, so I dropped the flag and went ahead and shut it down.
And this happens so quick, guys. I mean, if you blink, you miss it. In my opinion, if you aren't really keyed in on it and looking and focusing, if you blink, you miss this foul.
Yeah, I call that the Hugo Cruz syndrome.
Damn. Getting fired after that one, huh? Oh, Brian, you said you're getting fired. Oh man. Okay, so this is one that I wanted to jump to here. I'm on play 27. How do we handle this? What are we seeing? This is a group effort, I think, in this particular one. He crosses the referee's face, gets jumbled up in front of the umpire. Short wing, bottom of the screen. He may or may not see what's going on. Maybe the deep's got an angle. But this is just a wild. Is this a no call?
It's a no call. And when I watched this thing 5-6 times, at first I thought he got face masked by his own guy. And this is
you
a good
came to
look.
the
I can tell
conclusion
you
that
what
it
the
was.
referee saw.
Yeah, please.
You go back to the end zone view. You kind of glance there, and then there's this extra crap going on by 63, the left tackle, and I stayed on that for way too long.
Who should you have given that up to?
To Howard. Short
Okay.
wing. But then you can see across here, 44 now is going to step out in red behind 44 white and toss the helmet. And that's about the time where I came in with the helmet in midair and re-engaged on that action.
Well, I got caught up in the pile. I see a player with his helmet off in the pile, and my eyes dove in to the running back with his helmet off. But I got no idea how it came off. And the next thing I know is kind of like what David said is I see a helmet getting tossed in the air, and I don't know what's causing that helmet to get tossed that way, if it's actually thrown or if it just got kicked out of the pile, which obviously we can all look at it now and say number 44 grabbed it and threw it. And we should have had a personal foul face mask on 44. And then we should have gone half the distance on top of everything for UNS for throwing the other player's helmet. And instead, all they got was a 3rd and 7 or so. So, moral of the story is be better, find a way to be better.
So did the player come off, Austin?
Yeah, we sent the player off.
Okay.
We didn't know what caused the helmet to come off, so we sent him off.
You can see the hand right here reaching over. You can see his arm reaching over and getting that face mask. But it's tough to see. As I was saying, well, maybe Reinhardt got an angle, but he can't see where that arm's coming from. He just knows there's an arm in there.
That's a big pile of mess right there for sure.
I mean, he's almost like a proverbial what do you want to call that? I got a family full of kids in the house, so I can't happy ending type.
Yeah.
But
Blame it on 77. He's blocked the sun. He's so damn big.
So what was the communication between Maxwell and Austin and anyone else who saw the helmet being tossed? And was there anything? I mean,
Yeah, we all go, what the fuck just happened?
Well,
That was exactly the communication.
I believe at the end of this play, our back judge said, yeah, the helmet got tossed over there. And my question to that was, well, why didn't you toss a flag over there? And yeah, but there was a lot of discussion, not only as this play finished and we're going into the next one on the 0-2-0, but there was also quite a bit in the locker room at halftime. And the strange part of the whole thing is the running back says nothing about, bro, my my helmet got ripped off.
Any comment? Hey, David, any comment from the coaches on this play?
Yeah.
Yeah, like what happened? And that was basically what we were all saying. They didn't yell and scream at us. There was just kind of a, huh? What was that? And then they went on and made the next play call.
You know, I look at Coach Hill standing at the 50. Have you, at this point in time, talked to him about staying back, or are you, as a crew, are you still having the dialogue with the coaches? Are we saying because he's 12 yards away that we're not too worried about him anymore? What are you guys saying out here?
Yeah, that is, look, I'll be completely honest with you. We have one side that doesn't call it as tight as the other side, and I continue to bring that up with one side. I have no doubt that our head linesman and side judge probably would bang this for a sideline warning right now. Am I wrong, Kyle?
No, he got one about 3 plays into the second half.
Yeah. So it's no, that needs to be fixed. And that's something that we continue to talk about.
I want to make sure we're having the same dialogue on ours, except we're extending it, not necessarily 10. We might be going 20, 25, 30. But that's ours. I think within 10, I think we can still tell them to get back, or we got some issues going on.
Yeah, if he's standing at the, inside the 45, then I have no doubt that they're all over him. But 13 yards away, we seem to let that go a little more on this side.
Okay. I'm going to jump. I'm going to go down to play 6 in the next group of plays. It's 4, 6. Joe and I talked about this one quite a bit, and there's a lot in this particular play to dissect. And this is Sartwell's and Redding, and who's your back judge? Jordan. Jordan's on. Do we have any of your line of scrimmage guys on the call?
No, neither one of them are on.
Okay. All right. So this play here, I'm going to just let it play and let it kind of work. So. And Joe had made these annotations. I'll take the annotations off here in a second. Whoa, what happened? Only 2 views, no end zone?
Yeah.
I'm going to take these annotations off so they can run smooth.
Yeah, some of the plays had wide and narrow, and then some of them only have 1 view, and there is no end zone.
So, like I said, I'm going to let this one ride, and then we can come back and kind of work through keys and switches and who's got what where. So everybody's okay so far? Everybody saw the play? Initial keys, we've got the deep This is play 6. So this is side judge, back judge here. This is the back judge. Head linesman's got the first running back to his sideline. Judge is over here. Deep wings over here. And Jim, you're looking across to your left tackle. So initially, as this play starts to develop, we got a guy that goes in motion. So our keys now start to really, they don't change. Now they change. We got a snapshot of where they are, right? So we can bunch these, we can let them declare, or we can say this guy crossed behind and is now closer to the ball. So this becomes the back judge key. We have 13 that's working towards the tackle. So that's going to take some of the head linesman's attention. Quarterback's not threatened. Jim's backing out, so he's still in the action over here. Deep wing to this side. His guy's now starting to break towards the middle. Robert, I'm assuming you're still in this mix here. You haven't really floated play side yet, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So as this play continues to develop, 13 is now fully engaged. Sarwell is now coming back play side. He's now starting to look over here as well. Because of the zones that we were in, once 13 now starts to disengage, we've got another guy that's now running into the head linesman's zone. This backside guy is now working towards the back judge's zone. There, from the initial start, from where we were, this number 2 is coming out into the flats. Number 1 out here is still being occupied by the side judge because now he's running towards the pylon. So the side judge has now got this guy here. H is floating here, but ultimately now he's got a guy running into his zone. As we start to develop and what we start to see is that 13 starts to really disengage. Jim, the quarterback's still not really threatened yet, so hopefully you're still now over in this area.
I'm watching for 13 to reach out and grab that guy by the hand or by the pants and try to give a lane, and that's who I'm watching there.
Perfect. So here's where it gets really interesting. Remember I was telling you that H has got this guy in his zone? Jim, now you're starting to really focus on what's going to happen here, right?
Yeah,
Robert,
I have to.
It looks like you're transitioning, and you've now gone play side. You've given up this entire backside.
Well, not completely.
to your line judge.
If you go back to 25, 24, I was watching that action. Those two look like they were going at each other up high. So I'm kind of watching those guys, and then they disengage, and then I start turning to go play side.
So here's what we've got. We've got your H that is stressing the quarterback coming towards the line of scrimmage, trying to think about how he's going to get behind the play. You got a receiver here that's his key, that's threatening the sideline whether he steps out on his own or is pushed out. You got a back judge that's got this guy sitting here, and you got your side judge that's sitting with this guy right here in the end zone. And meanwhile, we've got this gentleman that is getting ready to just hit this guy from the side. And Robert, you may have seen it, but from a crew complexity and from how we're switching and how we're seeing this and how we're communicating is what we're trying to develop. And for the young guys on the call, how they can talk to their fellow crewmates. And, you know, Jim, Robert, you guys might have seen this. And who's your H?
Ron Tatch.
Tatch. Okay. So and how you 3 triangle this, oh, of course it's going to load. I don't know. But we got a player that steps out now. We got a quarterback threatened. We got contact out here that may or may not be taken a look at. The back judge is occupied. He can't tell if the guy's out of bounds. So kudos to the side judge for getting his hat and getting this player out of bounds. But I don't think that was his key.
Okay, Eric, I think I think that it should be his key. If you go back to the progression of this formation and how it broke down and how things went, if you're switching right there and you call that the back judge's key, is that
Back
right?
judges two. Back judges two.
Okay, so as it progresses through, let's look at it. Because I think this play gives you a double switch. And I don't think the back judge should be occupied by this guy drifting along the 2-yard line. I'm thinking that the deep wing should still stay with that guy based on the fact that the quarterback is he's at the numbers or outside. Just food for thought. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. It's just food for thought. Because that back judge, there's no way that back judge can work that player out of bounds.
Well, and with the way the play's flowing, so you got your quarterback scrambling to the right, so that receiver that is at the left hash that's coming into the middle of the field now is not going to be as much of a threat for that back judge as the deep guy in the end zone here off screen.
Agreed.
Because if he throws back across his body, he's going to throw a pick. So they're taught not to do that. So I think the guy in the end zone is more of a threat for the back judge than that backside receiver in the middle of the field.
Yeah, that's my point. Yes.
So are you saying the back judge is going to be on this guy right here?
I think that's a better scenario given how the play develops.
I agree. I mean, who is the F going to get on this play then? I mean, that's his key at the goal line. I mean, he should have F, and Jordan is looking at that guy in the end zone. Kyle's the rest of the guy.
I'm not saying he's not. It's just complexity, right? How do we communicate with one another? And how do we look and say, hey, Ron's staying with the line of scrimmage, but this receiver's in his zone as well. So had this linebacker not come and charged the quarterback, Jim would have been able to help out with this particular play that's backside. But since this linebacker charged the quarterback, took Jim away, Ron is probably not here in this scenario. So Ron's trying to work backwards, but I mean, this guy is still in his zone, especially with this guy being here. These are the things that just as a crew and how we develop and as it grows a chapter, how are we going to communicate this? And how do we study this going forward? Because there's a lot that happened on this play. Double switches, referees picking up where other guys, linemen, where other officials left off. There's a lot of trust. There's a lot of vision, keeping wide.
Well, I'm going to say too, I'm going to make since this is supposed to be kind of career development as well, it's a pretty damn important who you pick up when you've got a hole in your crew in an off week too. And I'll just leave it at that. But our side judge in this ball game and our field judge in this ball game were not regular members of our crew because of COVID wipeout and a work conflict. So just going to tell you, don't pick your best buddy up. You pick the best athlete available when you've got a hole to fill. And it works out. Again, to Ken's point is that double switch goes through, you follow the bills of the caps. I think the only person who got a little bit in a spot where, got no crap land was Ron, was the head linesman. And that can't be helped. That can't be helped on this play because that initial read did take him downfield. and we have a talk on our crew a lot about this, but okay, yes, you reach a point where now you're supposed to be back in the backfield, letting that quarterback go in front of you. Sometimes best thing you do is hunker down and get still and see what you can see. And that was a great call by the side judge on that, getting the out of bounds play. A great call. It wasn't superhuman because as you look, by the time that rotation took place, Todd Jennings had the kid there crossing the goal line. Jordan had the action there on the D, and Kyle obviously had that underneath.
Well, in the I think the kid that gets blocked that has the H's attention is an eligible receiver, right? So he's got a guy more coming into his zone straight at him than the guy downfield. Or am I seeing it wrong?
Running back here.
Yep.
This guy here.
I think that's the one that gets blocked.
It is.
Yeah, it does. He is. He's the one that gets blocked.
So I think that's where the H is looking.
So let me give you all a little bit on this. So first off, as far as me goes, I did see, if you let it go a little bit more, Eric, I transitioned because I'd already had a little chippiness going on with those two linemen that were in the backfield. Kind of decided to play footsies back there. So as I let that go, I pick it up, go forward a little bit. Right here. And I remember thinking, how the hell he ended up on the ground and they bunt. Now, Ron, we had our crew WebEx last night. We talked about it. Ron did see this. He took it.
He did?
Yeah, right or wrong, he didn't think it was forcible contact. Everything going on, he saw it and just thought that they kind of ran into each other. Played at regular speed,
So that gives me my next question. After looking at it, does the chapter feel this should be worked as a blindside block?
Hey, Eric, can you mute whoever's phone is there? I'm getting a lot of feedback from whatever that phone is. There we go.
The running back in this situation doesn't know he's here. He has no idea that guy's there. This particular linebacker, defensive end. This particular defensive end is lining this guy up. He knows what he's going to do.
So it's definitely a blindside block, but is it an illegal blindside block? Does it have that forceful component to it?
I'd almost want to see the defender, I think, come more the other way. He kind of still keeps moving sideways, and he actually even falls forward on that.
Right, he's kind of on a plane.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one to throw a flag on.
Yeah, I think like Austin mentioned on a block last week, how do you be consistent on that? And like Kyle said, it's a blindside block. I mean, clearly, and especially being the defender or the defender that does it, but does it rise to the level of forcible contact that we want to call every time? And I don't know if we want to go there personally, my opinion.
Is there an end zone view that shows a good look at this block?
No, like I said,
Rio had an end zone camera, but all we've got is the Eagle Pass feed.
Because even the defender going down, he's still moving towards that goal line when he goes down. It's almost like they did just run into each other. Even though the offensive guy his face is definitely not looking at that. When we look at the defensive player go to the ground, he's almost moving towards the goal line still.
Yeah, and that was Ron.
Yeah,
Ron did see the action. He opted to pass on it because he didn't think it was forcible contact. So
That'd be my take as well. I don't think that this is forcible enough that we want to start trying to call this every single time, because the consistency is not going to be there from week to week, especially when they're basically running parallel to each other and there's a little bit of a shoulder shrug into the guy.
Let's be honest. We don't see a whole lot of blindside blocks on plays like this committed by the defense. And we don't see a lot of classic decleaters either that wind up with the defender extending his arm into the offensive player as he hits him. This was ruled incidental. It's you can have incidental that's pretty damn hard. It doesn't rise to the level of illegal. The bigger question is this: did we see it and decide not to throw on it? And that's the answer is yes, it was seen and decided not to be thrown. I would be concerned as a referee on this crew if it wasn't seen.
Yeah.
Well,
it
another
comes
thing
to
we
shock when people watch film.
Another thing that we need to take into consideration as well is what the defense is allowed to do to get to a ball carrier. And they can do they can do a whole lot to get to a ball carrier. So take a look at that rule as to what the defense can do to get to a ball carrier, and I think it might help clear this one up a little bit.
Cool. Good. Joe, you got anything else to add?
Hey, this is a great play. I mean, it's very dynamic.
This is another one that we had discussed. I'm down to play 18. Catch, no catch. And I think, Jordan, you're on. You're the primary signal giver on this particular play. You want to, if you can you work through what you saw, how you communicated did I hear you say, Jim, that this is Kyle in this game?
Kyle's on the near side. Jennings is to the top side.
Okay. Jordan, I don't know if you're there, but if not, then Kyle.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Yeah, I had catch all the way, and I just took it slow, wait for Kyle to confirm. But yeah, if you go.
The positioning is great. You're the end line's being threatened. You know, Kyle's where he needs to be. He's on the pylon. You guys are right where you need to be. So this is good. And I imagine this is a quick head nod saying, I got a catch. We're going up. And here we are. Right?
Yep. Exactly.
It didn't take much, but it was great positioning. And that's what we want. That's where we want to see the chapter get to all the time, every single crew. Anything else on that one, Joe?
Nope, that was it.
This was an IDP.
Sure is.
Why are you chuckling?
Because the guy that was the worst offender, you can't even see him on the screen. He actually was constituting OPI because he's about 20 yards downfield. That dude was a handful. Watch the right guard.
So this was 2nd and 20, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
We got a guy in motion. So the keys. We got a guy down here. Do we have a receiver down at the bottom?
No.
Maybe?
No.
No? Is that a tight end?
You got 2 up top, 4 in the backfield, 5 on the line.
Yeah, it was
yeah, okay. All right. So one of these guys is covered.
Correct.
Yeah, and make note of that both of those guys were covered. This was clearly set up to be a screen pass, and those guys were both on the line.
So only the inside guy is the one that cannot go downfield on a pass.
Correct.
Well, he can, but long as the ball is caught behind the
Leave
line
it
of
behind
scrimmage.
the line of scrimmage, yeah.
So we're saying this big boy right here,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
that
He
big
ends up-
boy.
He ends up at the 36.
This guy here.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's actually another one at the 25. So there's two of them.
Yeah, the receiver. So this is really far downfield. So who's really got their eyes on this guy that's downfield? Jim, I'm assuming you're not working with an alternate in this particular game.
This is a side judge.
No.
No.
We needed somebody to trip him about the 30.
So how, Robert, you got action play side, you got other here.
Yeah,
Everybody's
I got
kind of
those
going away
guys
from you.
out.
How did you turn and see this guy? You saw his number and said,
Oh, no,
"The
I didn't
hell?"
see him. I saw those guys there about 20. I did not see 75 downfield. The guys came over the radio and said, hey, we got a guy 20 yards downfield. So we had the flags. But that's a great question. I mean,
Yeah, I popped on the radio and said, hey, if that was across the line of scrimmage, we have IDP.
Yep.
Because 75 was in my lap downfield.
Then the line judge will have the flag down. As soon as he picks up that it's complete beyond the line of scrimmage, he's got it because the inside receiver was downfield early, who was covered up.
if you watch Tony, he does throw it as soon as the ball is thrown. I dropped my flag late because I wanted to process where I saw the quarterback release it, saw where the running back caught it, and I just wanted to make sure where those guys were at. Because also, like I said, Kyle came over the radio and somebody else said something with 75 all the way downfield there.
Well, good communication. Thanks. We talk about, hey, deep wings, if there's questionable guys downfield, we always ask that you come over the mic. You can have it later, right? It doesn't look good, but you can at least have it later, especially when this guy's 20 yards from where he should be.
Yeah, and it's a good discussion too, because like I said, that action could constitute OPI.
Do we want to call an OPI here?
I would say no.
Okay.
Not in this case, but it could. If he's blocking a guy that's trying to cover a receiver they're throwing to, I would hope that the deeps would pick up on that and get it. But in this situation, no, because it doesn't have
any effect.
But if that guy was blocking, I don't know, if there was a defender.
Closer to having it down close to where it's caught.
Exactly.
That offensive lineman blocks 23 out of bounds. That's closer to OPI than the guy downfield.
Yeah. I just mentioned that because that's something that I don't think most of us would consider, that, you could have OPI on a lineman that's, to use a technical term that Jim uses, bumble shitted 20 or 30 yards downfield,
Bumble shitted.
Bumble shitted. It's a highly technical term.
It is very technical. I like it.
Aggie vocabulary 101.
You got it, bud.
Oklahoma Sooners.
Just to clarify, Jim, that is past tense, right?
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to jump to now 56, and this kind of gets the line of scrimmage guys from time to time. And when do they slide? When do they not? When do we mark the quarterback as giving up on a feet first slide? Ball snapped at the 32. Right there is about where he gives himself up. This one, wait, Joe, he's got his arms on this guy. You there, Joe?
Yeah.
This is the one you're talking about, the quarterback slide. Is the defender not on this guy?
Well, I can tell from the angle, but it's the hips drop.
Prior to?
When the hips drop is what I was thinking of.
Yeah, he slid. I can confirm from my view, he slid. The defender didn't get his hands on him until he saw 42 coming in.
Committed.
The brick and
Committed to the slide, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I get running. He slid and we had the collision going on there, but yeah, he definitely started his slide.
So with his slide maybe taking place, from discussions and from talking with some of the folks in the NCAA and how we approach this, how they approach it, how we approach it is 2 yards from where they stopped is a good rule of thumb. Go back 2 yards. Unless it's a wet field and you're just taking off, right? But once you realize they're going into a slide, you go back a yard, go back 2 yards is generally where they're going to be giving themselves up. And, this is 1 yard difference, right? Maybe a yard and a half. Not trying to nitpick on this, but we don't talk about QB slides a lot. And just as a rule of thumb, as we start to roll into our next season, when we start to see QB slides, this is when we want to start to pick up. Okay, I got him starting at the 31. We're going to probably go back to at least the 30 to get where he started to give himself up. That'll help you.
I like that. This one needs to at least be at the 30.
Yep. And I can't speak for our line judge on this one, so.
It's all right. I mean, we don't talk a lot about slides, so it's just when did he give himself up, and that's just a good rule of thumb to have.
Well, it speaks to the process, and you don't have to worry about where you're placing the ball because you've got that process in your brain already. It's like, no, this is what we're doing.
Eric, if I might, you can also apply that 2 yard rule to drive backs on quarterback sacks. Where you think that quarterback got sacked, add 2 yards to it. And that's where the drive back started.
Forward progress. Good job.
Yep.
And Joe, I know you and Robert have talked about this play a little bit. So we're on play 114 here.
Is this a scrimmage kick?
I believe. Yes, this is a scrimmage kick. R remain UIs.
Yeah, we had a good discussion about this one, about some blind spots in the revised mechanics.
I think this is a pretty good get by the line of scrimmage guy, your line judge on this particular play. Robert, as an umpire, you've got guard, center,
Correct.
guard. And 75 then gets in front of you, I think, for a view. So you probably lose out on the guard.
Not.
And the movement on the
So
inside.
I'll talk you through this one. So on this play, if you go back a little bit, when the center snaps the ball and comes up, he gets chucked by number 44 a little bit. And that caught my eye. And I didn't think it was enough. I mean, he hits him pretty quick, but right there, gave him a little chuck. I didn't think it was enough, so I passed. And now I progressed to that guard, number 49, and I pick it up about right here. And what it looked like to me was that the way the defender spun, And because I can't see that left hand. I just simply can't see that left hand on his shoulder pads. I thought they hit legs and he spun, got a Charlie horse kind of deal, and they hit legs, he spun out. And I wanted to see this play. Tony got it, which was a good get, great get, looking interior and seeing that. Should I have had that? Sure, but it's just going to be tough to call as the umpire if you're not seeing that from the beginning. If I was in the old position, sure, I'd be able to see that, but it's just one that I wasn't able to pick up the action from the beginning, so I'm not going to throw on it. But yeah, Tony did a great job picking it up. And then from there,
from your mechanics, when we're lining up as an umpire, we're getting close to the goal line.
Yeah, go to the wide view.
We're getting close to the goal line.
See me pointing right there? I'm telling Jim that I'm taking the goal line, and right or wrong, I know I've talked with Joe and other umpires, and we've gotten variously dinged for being too deep, too narrow. We're going to defend that money line in this situation. I'm going to go back and make sure that there's somebody there that can immediately cover that goal line. If there's a snap that goes over his head or gets muffed like it does here, still where I can see the center and everything going on with the center guard. Then of course it gets muffed, and then all hell breaks loose.
And at the point that ball, it's obvious that the punter's going to have a little bit of trouble corralling it. That holds about a third of the way into its existence. And I know that we're all supposed to be able to look through something that's close to us and look away at our keys. Boy, that's tough. That's tough on human nature to not sit there and watch that ball bouncing in front of yourself.
Yeah, and I did. I'm not going to lie. As soon as about that, you can see me turn my head. Once the punter muffs it, then I'm picking that up and actually I'm watching. I think I was watching number 40 come through at the shield, and then pick up the punter picking up the ball, because now it's like, what's going to happen here? Because I know I've got to be able to help Jim, because he's going to have all those bodies between him and the punter.
And Robert, I think you're legitimate there. I mean, because especially if you've all communicated saying you have the goal line, you definitely have goal line concerns at that point in time.
Yeah, and it's Joe and I've talked about it, it's tough. And if you go into the TASO mechanics manual, it doesn't, all it says is that we have the guard center guard, and then even after the ball is snapped, we're supposed to progress downfield. But I know we've talked as a group, as umpires, like with Brad, that we want to try to help with that shield, because you're seeing it more and more. We want to be able to help with leaping, but it's not annotated anywhere. You know, we've talked also loosely that we mimic the center judge in college, and in the mechanics manual for college, and I know it's high school, but in the mechanics manual for college for the center judge, that shield is their responsibility. So are we morphing mechanics? Absolutely. But we certainly have an absence of guidance in the TASO mechanics manual, because it basically says, do what you did before, however you're 20 to 25 yards displaced from where you were previously. So.
And I would just say this too, Eric, if you move that ball back and instead of snapping at the 18, 19, wherever we were, back at Joker, back up to the 8, and move that punter to where he's standing on the goal line or standing at the bottom of the I. Again, right, wrong, or indifferent, to get coverage on those lines, I'm going to be standing on the goal line and Robert's going to be standing on the back line. I think I'm a firm believer the mechanics manual is written at any level of ball to allow you to make as many calls standing still with your eyes not bobbling as humanly possible.
I agree with everything that Robert and Jim just said on this one. This mechanic it still needs to be fine-tuned and given more direction, especially for you guys that are at the umpire and the referee position. They need to fast forward and get into real life of football officiating.
And I know Joe wants to weigh in on it. I know he's got some good thoughts and discussion on it.
We were talking about a source And of course, our mechanics, CCA, there's no source. The chapter has given us a verbal on variations on what I would do, no more than what this discussion is. There is just no guidance. But I do like what Jim talked about on when it comes to the end line, when they transition that way and keeping eye still. I like that train of thought, but it's learning from each other is all we're at that point, because like I said, there's truly no guidance on it. In the shield, I was telling Redding that, I mean, unless my guy, those two guys are in the gaps, the A and B gap, someone comes through that gap untouched, I'll go to the shield. Otherwise, I'm, guard, center guard, and looking for that dead zone beyond the line of scrimmage for any action, when the ball's kicked. I mean, that's my routine on scrimmage kicks. When it comes to the goal line, I'll probably be in the same position there. That ball, you're right. Human nature is go to that ball. And I think previously there was a training talking about, trying to keep our eyes as the line of scrimmage as long as possible. But it's just difficult all the way around. I do like the R remain mechanics here. That was probably the first thing on my list. It was very well done. L stays tight. The H is hauling butt back to support. And then at the very end, the L even is already communicating to the line of scrimmage what he has and what the enforcement's going to be, or getting their input on it.
Yeah, I like the mechanics of it. It looks good. Oh, this is one. This is a good one. I'm gonna get down close up on this one.
I think he's even on it tonight.
You got any helmet stickers for this one?
I wish. I need a helmet sticker for this one. Boom. Get down.
Get that out of here.
Thanks, Eric.
David?
I told you I was going to get you in.
I
didn't notice. Is that a taunt afterwards? It looks like he's staring down
I
at
was
this.
actually trying to get. No, I was trying to move to my left, but I just got caught watching it come right at me, and I just stayed still. So
At least you weren't
shame on
that
me.
college umpire that went down in that Alabama-Kentucky game.
Yeah, exactly. I felt like that was coming.
Is that clipping on the umpire? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah.
UNR.
Exactly.
So, David, you got caught watching the ball.
Yeah.
What
No, I
happened?
actually saw
What happened?
everything open
Let's
up.
walk through it. Yeah.
I'm not watching it live right now, but I've seen it enough times already, thanks to Dave Maxwell. I basically saw everything open up in the middle. My keys were obviously, watching the guard, tackle, center. When I saw that thing open up, I just kind of froze. And typically what I've done in the past is when I feel it coming on, I just kind of turn the sideways, get skinny, whatever you want to use, whatever term you want to use. But this guy, it just appeared like he was not, unfortunately, he was slowed up, or else he would have just ran right through me. So, not good.
So what's your wisdom? Well, what was the wisdom you would depart on the rest of the umpires that are in here on this particular?
I'll be perfectly honest with you. I've been very fortunate to read correctly where I'm picking up, pulling guards, pulling tackles, and I normally move away from the coverage and pick up action in and around the ball. I've just been very fortunate. This one just didn't play in my favor.
Well, it was a good tackle.
Yeah, whatever. since you're on that one, go look at the next play if you have time, because that's the one I think we definitely missed.
I do remember my brother David calling me after this game, asking me how he could get his testicles back down into his sack.
So true.
So, Dave, I think this is the only angle we've done this particular face mask.
Yeah, I mean, my question to the group is this, you know, because obviously it's opened up enough where if I'm not looking at the ball carrier, that's something I should reach up and pick up. I didn't get good. So, but it sure does appear that the second action, and I'm not watching it now, but I do remember the play because I've watched it several times. It appeared that obviously he gets him on the way down from behind the helmet.
Well,
so
we can see your hat. You go left when the play's going right, and you got
Right.
guys in between because you were looking at a double team backside on this particular play, but it opens up to your back judge.
Okay.
And your back judge is looking right at it based on his cap.
Can he dig that? Can he dig that far in the backfield?
He's got a face mask?
Yeah, I mean, it just seems to me like that would be hard for him to pick up from his distance. In other words, I'm asking you, is that something that, you know, Joe, is that something you would peel from what you were doing and pick that up? Or, I mean, because I'm trying my hardest to move away from any ball action and just reading, you know, movement at the line and position myself and picking up coverage. I'm trying to stay away from the ball as much as possible.
But the last
and I'm not
3 years, that's where emphasis is. You know, the dreaded word that we don't want to hear is ball watching as an umpire. And that's
Right.
been used the past 2 or 3 years. And we need to focus more on the blocks, And it looked like you progressed just fine. Something got your attention to your left. I don't know if you're just
Yeah.
bacon, didn't want to get hurt, saw something flash out of your peripheral, and you looked. But you started off well on 75, right there at the point of attack, and then the play bounced outside. Anything to the right, you would be looking 75, maybe that block on 77 at the second level at most. Unless it's just right at my feet, I'm not picking up the ball carrier. I mean, I've worked hard to get to that point because it's nothing there. I got gigged early in the year by Joel saying that I missed a chop block because of a fumble that happened right in front of me. So again, it supports that we really got to concentrate on those blocks as long as possible.
Hey.
Yeah, and that's where it's been an emphasis, and yeah, I know I get caught every once in a while. It may appear to some, but I'm not peeling on that runner Hardy at all anymore. I'm trying to pick up whatever coverage I can. But that was one that, you know, I remember getting a glimpse of it, you know, but I didn't see it all, and certainly I think it was missed.
Did you, just curious, did the honest scrimmage person have a view of it at all, or they didn't see it at all?
You know, I don't know if Steve's on the call or not. I think that was either to his side or to, I can't remember if that was, I don't know if that was to, you know, to Timmy's side. I can't remember, to be honest with you.
This is the second half. That was going to Losh's side.
Okay.
And Eric, let me add some color to this. Is your comment about the back judge here? This opens up. It is 100%, you know, something that he's probably getting in there on. However, having worked with these guys for the last 3 weeks, filling in, one thing that we've talked about as a crew and looking at stuff there is the back judge had a habit sometimes of staying with a key and making like a holding call at the line of scrimmage, and that others may have passed on that were closer to it. So we have talked about laying off some of these 30-yard flag throws, and that may be going through his head here. But this is a safety foul. This is a face mask. This is one that if you see it, you got to throw it. It's different than a hold on a quick pass out to the sideline. So I can't speak for him, but I will give you that background that we have been, for a couple of weeks now talking about, hey, unless it's just an absolute takedown, stay away from those 30-yard flag throws. So that may be something that's going through his head here, but this is a good play to discuss pregame next week or this week, whatever, on, hey, here's a 30-yard flag throw that you do want.
Get that heavy bag that you have in your pants and toss it.
Hey, if he
Only
threw it, he
10
would nail
yards.
that spot
Only 10
within
yards.
about 6 inches.
Oh, he's solid.
In that 10-pound flag he's got now.
He's worried about throwing his clasp is what it is.
Oh, is that what it is now? We're worried about the class coming out?
Yeah, or breaking.
Get Jordan or Blake back there, man. Their flags, they hit somebody, it's going to leave a exit wound coming out.
Last play, guys. I know that we got to get rolling. So this is a UNR. This is big tackle that's coming over on the other side, I believe. Yeah, this is a big tackle. So
We're
I
saying
think the end zone view shows it the best.
we're saying it was late.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt it was late.
Yeah. This is one of those ones that we need crew participation in this one. And David, I know that you're looking at the ball at this point based on where your head is. It goes to the hot side. Go ahead.
Which play was this? Was this the one where the player came in late to tackle?
Yeah, that's where 61
play
got
106
in white.
Okay, so what I got tripped up on, Eric, and it was definitely my fault, and I told Dave this, is I have never seen a jersey pulled off a player. So I was watching that action, which really got my attention, and then I completely missed line of sight of that guy coming late. I certainly should have been able to pick that up. No question. But if you'll notice the action on the player, it starts with a uncover and then a complete disrobing of the jersey. He came up without.
Yeah,
shirt on.
I've got it frozen. I've got it frozen at 9:18. So I've got it frozen where that defender is peeling that jersey off. And then
and definitely wrong because I didn't finish the play. I can almost guarantee that's what I was looking at because I had never seen that, in 30 years or however long I've been calling.
How about angle? The angle that you have as approaching the line of scrimmage versus coming out on a loop towards the.
I was thinking I was
banana.
A banana.
Yeah, I should have gone to the right, and you're exactly right. I think there was something else that was going on with, and I can't see the play. I'm not watching it live, but was there like a 75 right in front of me, or was there an action where there was a block that kind of led me to go towards it? And I don't know if it was one of those where I was going to need to, break up anything. That's what I'm thinking happened. But then, of course, when I turned to the right, I noticed the shirt coming off, and that's when I reacted.
With the nose guard, but it looked like 75 either lost his footing or something, and he fell. then the defender put pressure up the middle. And I guess that would be your starting with the snap and all. But
well, a couple of previous plays before that, if you go look at the whole film, those two players were engaged in some extracurricular stuff. So I'm not quick to, flag something that you can talk through with them.
Right.
So I had been in conversation with those two guys and number 55 from Jim Ned. He's a big kid, and Joe, you'll see that this Friday. He's so intense that when you talk to him, it's like whatever you tell him is going right from one ear to out the other. He's not even focused, and he's so intense. And so there was a lot of communication. He never crossed the line, in my opinion, but he was very close on a couple of occasions. But I talked his way through it and became friends with him in the second half. And, he didn't like my holding call on him, but it was one of those, just a complete takedown. But on that particular play, which you guys are discussing, it's definitely positioning and definitely got distracted.
Well, Eric, if you go back to the wide view and stop it once the quarterback hits the ground, I certainly could have helped with this if I'm not having a conversation with the quarterback. He's bitching about how he got roughed here. And when he goes down, you can see that I'm talking with him and telling him, hey, we're still playing football here. Suck it up, blah, blah, blah. And instead of me having that conversation with him during the live action, you can see my head there. It turns when he goes down at like the 46.
Mm-hmm.
And he and I keep conversating instead of me continuing to officiate. So
I was getting
I'll
to
take
you.
some too.
So thank you very much. Appreciate it. Anybody else? Anybody else could be able to help on this play? I mean, Maha's got his back to it. What about on the other side?
How about Eric? I talked to Dave about it. What about Cody on a deep? Would he not have eyes on something like that coming, or is that too?
No, is Cody on Maha's side?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yep.
He's got action right at the 10. I mean, he's got a receiver DB that are right on the 10.
Okay.
So you really can't leave that until maybe now. But I think Crossfield, I think Loesch could have probably gotten this. At least had some communication.
Loesch talked about it post game, but he was wary of that being, of only having about 3 or 4 yards of downfield view into it and throwing all the way across the field on that. But yeah, I mean, there's a whole number of us that could have, would have, should have had this, but this needed to be a UNR.
No, that's on me. I mean, that's my call all day long. So I needed to stay away from that, especially picking up that kind of crap, coming. I should have had line of sight on that the entire time.
And we're doing 5-man with those guys?
Yeah, Joe, that's
Thank you, Art Briles.
Well,
I think we did get.
You're going to need.
Go ahead, Dave.
No, I was going to say you're going to need to, because I suspect there's a reason that Browse wants to go 5 minutes probably. And what I heard from Fanning, who's the Jim Ned, call me, he said that those guys do the similar to kind of like the rush to the line. I think that's, Malakoff used to do that if you guys have seen them. They run to the line and snap when, so his concern is they're not getting set. So that's among many things, and he's recognized. He won the flip for Chapter, but lost the flip for the 7-man. So it's I tried even to call Browse today, but he has a freaking gatekeeper, and the assistant AD called me back and said, nope. He won the Chapter. We agreed to San Antonio. But we won the flip for 5-man, and that's what we're going. He just kept it short and sweet. So I was just going to try to sell it, but they've had it all. If you look at the game before on YouTube against Malakoff, they only had 5.
Well, guys, good luck this week. Safe travels. Stay patient. Communicate with your crew. Work on your crew to get better. We're moving into an area where we don't necessarily have film on everybody else, so just focus on yourselves. How you're going to do these what-if scenarios and how you're going to work with your crews. So anything else before we part?
I just want to say thanks for sharing the film. There were some really great discussion topics tonight. So thanks for everybody who shared film.
Keep it coming. If you guys want me to do it again next week, happy to do so. I think we had 36. I didn't know if we got any more than that. So it's obviously dwindling. I don't mind being that guy again to stand in here and do it, or if somebody else wants to, feel free. I don't mind. Again, this is all about how we communicate amongst ourselves and how we can train our eyes to be better. So we appreciate the feedback and we appreciate the discussion, so that when there is an opportunity to plug and play, the guys that are here tonight really kind of show you who's ready and willing to travel and go places and do things. So thank you very much. And it looks like there's something just popped up on the chat, or it's on the chat.
Just love the quality time.
Oh, okay. You're welcome, Matt. Appreciate you, man. So, but no, if there's anything else, you guys just save it. We can talk about it next week if you want to. If not, then we'll see you soon.
All right, Eric.
Good job, Eric.
All
Thanks,
you
man.
do for all you guys
Thank you.
this week. Be safe out there.
Thanks, Rude.
Better boys.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate
All right,
it.
guys.
Thank you all.